Well, good morning, everyone. Come on in. Let us know where you're calling from, and I will sing you in. It's a happy Monday, another Monday. What do you know? There's only a few more left in 2025. So here we go. I'm going to play you a song. As you come in, drink your coffee or your water or your tea. So excited today. If I could reach the stars, pull one down for you, shine it on my heart, so you could see the truth, that this love I have inside is everything it seems. But for now I find it's only in my dreams, and I can change the world. I will be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good, baby, if I could change the world. Come on in, everybody. I could change the world. I would be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good, baby, if I could change the world. If I could change the world, baby, if I could change the world. Well, good morning, everyone. So glad that you're here. I played an abbreviated version of that song. There's a much longer one, and it kind of caught me a little bit off guard. Few little snafus this morning, but so what, right? So I am Leslie Flowers, and I'm so happy to have you here. It's Monday, the 8th of December, and we're full into the last bit of the last month of Q4 2025. Are we changing the world? One person at a time? One good deed? One teaching element? Mind Over Matter Mondays is about bringing together guest teachers who teach what we're all learning from their viewpoint, their perspective, their processes, depending on where you and they are in their growth of conscious awareness, becoming aware of our infinite potential. We all have that. And all that's missing is a resonance with a concept after hearing a few times, to have that clarity, that light bulb moment where you finally get it. You were ready to get it. And so it's through repetition and hearing these different concepts. This is all about mind. There's not a lot of information out there. It is a deep study done by few and not introduced into universities or therapy curriculums yet. So the distinction between what the brain does and what the mind does is like night and day. But if you're unaware of it, then you can't take action with it. And that's what this is all about. To realize that what we think is the source of everything. It's the source of our results. It's the source of how we create neural pathways in our brain. They got there through what we're thinking, how frequently we think it, and the way we're feeling when we think it. And this is relatively new technology to the world. Maybe 50 years. That's it. So I'm so excited to have you here, and even more so excited to have our sponsor and frequent guest, the wonderful Mr. Stanley Greene, who is the president and CEO. I'd like to bring your face in here. There we go. Instead of just mine. Let's see if it works well here. Everything is lagging on my computer today. So we'll just have to see. Goodness gracious. Let me try this one. Oh, Lordy. Okay. Come on, computer. Oh, it's just not behaving. What a shame. Let me see if I can get anything to work here, Stanley. Oh, look at there. Sorry, it was me again. Oh, my goodness gracious. It was me. I had you in the studio trying very diligently to bring you on the stage. Good morning. How are you, Stanley?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Leslie?
I am fantastic, and I'm so glad that we're wearing the same color, sort of.
Hey, you know, I normally don't wear, I usually wear my yellow, you know, which is kind of part of the logo of Power Thinking, this blue and yellow.
Right.
But I just switched it up.
Now you're matching my logo.
Yeah, I'm going to match
you're matching my logo.
It's
matchy.
The same wavelength, same vibration.
Yes. We've got a very exciting show for you today. Something very different, don't we, Stanley?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Okay, so let's welcome everybody in. Let us know where you're calling from, and I will get right into this as quickly as we can. But you're going to see something that you haven't seen before. And pretend you've never seen anything like it, so it shows up newly. So let's begin with the wonderful folks that have been patiently here. I hope that the video played better for you than me. And if you're on, what in the world is this? You're streaming to another platform, aren't you, Stanley Greene?
Yes, I was just going to tell you, you're on Twitch. You're on Twitch as we speak. I'm actually looking at it on my phone.
Okay, Twitch.
You just expanded your universe to the gamers.
Hiya, gamers. If your thumbs hurt, it's the controller. I remember when my son got his first Atari. Was it Atari? I think it was. And one morning he was upstairs and I heard him hollering. He's about 8 or 9 years old. Oh no. And he's banging his feet and running through the upstairs. And I'm at the bottom of the stairs. Matthew, what's wrong? What's happened? I lost a man. Right. And then he came down and he said, Mama, my thumbs hurt. I said, well, what have you been doing this morning? It was Saturday. Playing my Tiger Heli. Well, give it a rest because what you're doing is exercising, right? Anyway, enough of that. We want you to know who we are too. And Stanley is our first sponsor. He's the president and CEO of PowerThinking Corporation, which is a personal development program, which now we'll tell you a little bit later, and you may already know, has a full-blown app. So instead of doing things on one platform and then another and calling in, which you could still do on Wednesdays, now everything is consolidated to a very convenient app. We have a special offer for you today. So feel free to jump in and say hello. But first, I want to welcome Adrian. Adrian is a marvelous human, and she is a big support. She's been a featured supporter of Mind Over Matter Mondays. And she has a big background in diabetes. So that's her specialty. If I've got that, no, that may not, no, that's the wrong person. I'm sorry, Adrian. I have you and another person that I love dearly confused. So let me just thank you for being here and be honest about this, because I think it happened last week too. But Adrian has been a big supporter and loves this work. And she also loves to write poetry. And she is an animal whisperer. I just found that this past week. So I'm really looking forward to reading some of your poetry. That I know for sure is you. And here is 𝗦𝘁𝘄𝗲𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍𝗍. Thank you for being here, my dear. And everybody, I'm kind of a creature of habit. So if you come to the Monday or Friday 10 a.m. shows, the way I invite you is when you say you'll attend the week before, right? This is an easier way because now I'm coming up on 9,000 people or followers. And so the best way for me, instead of blanket, right, to an industry, I've tried that and that works somewhat well, but really works with the results, and you're coming back every week, is if I invite you because you were here before. So I know you won't always be able to attend, but if you click attend, that means I'll invite you again. Okay, just wanted to share that with you. So Wendy, thank you for being here. And there is the wonderful 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗏𝗍𝗍, a former veteran, or he is a veteran, a former supporter and military in our country. Hey, and he is lives in Florida with his beautiful wife, helping other people transform their lives and look for the best. So it's so good to see you back. I hope you'll come each week. I'd love it. And let me see what Adrian said. Oh, thank you. Now you see red. It's really orange for me. What color are you seeing Stanley in? If this is red, what color is Stanley's? I have to know. Okay. And good morning, Merrill. Merrill has been featured also. He is the man. Hey, he's calling in from Paramus, northern New Jersey. And I was going to say, Frosty, we're supposed to have snow today in North Carolina, right? We'll see. But Merrill is the one who always shares whatever events live, and even not on LinkedIn, that he's aware of. So if you follow Merrill and look at his posts, you'll also know what's going on. So thank you, Merrill, for your abiding support. I love this. And we have Kimberly Lechnick, who has been a guest here. She was here for 2 weeks, not too long ago. You know Kimberly, do you? Stanley, do you know Kimberly?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We talked about she's a power thinking, and I am too. I don't join many memberships, but I do like this one. I like Stanley. The reason I like it is Monday and Fridays, I get my mind straight with you, with everybody, for Thinking Grow Rich on Friday, and Monday, Mind Over Matter. If you like a dose of mindset repetition, which is how we learn and how we absorb things. But what I especially like is Stanley's lives is Wednesday morning, 7:30 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. Eastern, but you can also call in. So what that means, or you can access it through the app. So if you know somebody that doesn't have a phone or doesn't, I mean, there are a lot of seniors, right, that don't, they need to know this. Seniors are now called the silent generation because, like, here, I'm one of the oldest ones here, right? There aren't as many of us, but we're the wise ones. Aren't we, Stanley? Although I'm not putting you in my category, but the older you get, the wiser you get. So, you know, it's really about what we don't know yet. That's all. So Kimberly is fabulous. She's all about gratitude. Thank you for being here. And here's Leanna. Leanna is the one who takes the pictures that I absolutely adore. Let's see if it's going to show up here. There we go. From Duluth. It's 5 degrees. Holy mackerel.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Leanna posted, Leanna is the one who's all about diabetes and studies in that area, but she has this exquisite view from her house. And I saw a picture that she posted last week, or maybe it was a couple of days ago. It was of a bobcat at the edge of her yard, but there was no beautiful lake and sunrise and sunsets. It was wonderful. So thank you so much.
Superior.
Is that where she is? Okay, I didn't realize.
I was there. I flew into Minneapolis and drove to Duluth from Minneapolis. I was CEO of a synthetic turf company, and we had a field out there that we built that we needed to fix.
A synthetic turf company?
Oh yeah, I used to run a company called Sprint Turf, and I became the chairman of the whole industry's trade association.
So you know, one day I just want to have you on and we'll just talk about you. Because he has, like, I'm going to tell you what, if you've been in action and you're in action now, you've done things, right? And we can all learn. And this is the thing. Don't give up the lessons that you've failed at. You know, a lot of times people say, well, let's forget about that. Don't pay attention to your fears. Listen, synthetic imagination, we will go back and we will use the lessons and the solutions we found again. So never let go. And the word unlearning is not a real thing. You'll never unlearn what you know. You may forget about it, but it's always there.
Well, Leslie, I gotta tell you, this whole
Please.
synthetic turf thing and then handling the whole industry, it came from a setback, from a failure in a previous situation.
Where you could have thrown in the towel. Okay, I failed, so let me just move on to something else. However, if you have a purpose and you really want to do it, you're going to find a better solution. Isn't that what we're all about, really? If you think about it, for the day we're born, how are we going to walk? How are we going to do this? Right? What is the solution? The quicker we can come to the solution without jumping to conclusions, that's the secret word today, by the way. So we'll see who remembers it. All right. I know there was an old show with Groucho Marx, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but there was always a secret word. And whoever won it won a big prize. I don't know what the prize will be, but let's see if you can remember the secret word. Okay. Oh, look who's here, Lauren, my new best friend. Well, I hope she'll be my new best friend. She and I were, she's on her way to work. We were in a live, a very fun live about women's rights, etc., and what's going on in our world through the generations. Last night with William Rochelle. And so if you want to watch that, it was hilarious. And it was very insightful. We got into a lot of subjects, so you would enjoy that. His shows are Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. But a lot of the people that are doing lives are kind of easing out of the year. Lots of season finales. Felipe and Ashley Llewellyn and Sumana Jetty, Felipe Cafina, they do their wrap up tonight of Workplace Wellness Hour at 8 p.m. Eastern. So lots of really good things happening. People are taking a break. And here's Tracy. Do you know Tracy?
Oh, yeah. I was on Tracy's program.
That's right.
A couple of times. Yes. Hi, Tracy.
Excellent. Tracy and I kick off our Wednesdays before your show at 6 a.m.
Wow.
She's in Texas. I'm in North Carolina. We got someone in Czechoslovakia. Hang on, let me think. India. I can't remember where. Wait. Czechoslovakia. Philippines, Chorito.
Yeah,
and it's 6 a.m. for me, and it's 4 a.m. for Tracy. So thanks for helping me start my Wednesdays. And then I do your show. And then I do Andrea Sanchez's 15 Minutes of Kindness. So what I've done is scheduled myself Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That is repetition. That is keeping my mind focused on positivity. And I make myself do this, but now it's fun, right? I mean, it's the way I structure my day. Oh, look, and Linda Meyer is here. I don't know if you've met Linda. You do? Do you know Linda?
I don't think so.
Hey, Linda has started a new newsletter, and her specialty is narcissism. She's also a chef, and she just got her coaching certification. So congratulations, Linda. And she started this newsletter. And so if you're curious about narcissism, you think maybe you are or someone else is. She's not a therapist, but she studied deeply. So thanks for being here, Linda, as always. And then we have the wonderful Sean Michael. There we go. Hey, Sean. Sean is going to be with us the last Monday as a guest teacher of the year, which is the 29th. And he has his own show today at noon Eastern, Monday Mind Shift. Thank you for being here, Sean. Sean's a great supporter. a great supporter. Yes, Tracy, we are matchy today, aren't we? Tracy's noticing that we're matchy. Okay. Yes. Okay.
I got the memo.
You got the memo. We didn't talk, but we're on the same thought frequency. That's what it is. You know, when you walk into a room, a networking room with a particular intention or looking for a referral partner, or you want to get someone interested in something you're doing, as long as it's specific. You've ever been in there and there's a large room with people talking and someone across the room is talking about your intention? Okay, it's like two tuning forks. You now jumped onto another thought frequency and you will hear that person across the room above the cacophony of everybody milling around. And that's not a coincidence. This is how the universe works. So that's how Stanley and I were able to get so matchy today, right? Islam, marketing guru. Check him out. It seems to be back on LinkedIn more frequently. He's won awards in marketing. I'm in a conversation with him about what I want to do with my Friday show this next year. I want to make it more of an experience. So, all right, let's go on, because we are wasting. Well, we're not wasting. We're investing time in you. This is who you are for me. When I do this, I want you to know how you show up. I'm always looking for your greatness. Sometimes we don't hear that enough. So for sure, I want you to know. And I know Stanley does too. He always acknowledges people. The good part about acknowledging the first part of the show is that you get who you are. You get to realize your greatness as you step out into the week. And if you come back to do team replay, you can zip right through the first half and pick up the content in the second half. And we're getting there in just a second here. And there's Joni. Now she shows up as Elizabeth Hargrave, but she changed her name before, and I know her as Joni. So if you hear me say, "Hey, Joni," right, you'll know it's Elizabeth. I mean, she's,
Joni just defeated me in the 𝗍𝗲𝗆𝗍𝗲𝗍𝗏. I was leading all the way to the last question.
Yeah.
I was conservative. I didn't double, not the answer right, but I was very conservative. She doubled hers and she won.
Let me just tell you about Joni. You guys, you have no idea what's behind this lovely, sweet singing woman. She seems so sweet and delicate and demure. She raises dogs. She has industrial companies. You would never think that. So get to know her. Yes, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All right. Okay, now how do I, let me see if I can do this. Just a second here. We got somebody not too nice here. Ban user and delete their comments. Hey, I've never had that before. I just had to ban a user and delete their comments from YouTube.
Well, there you go.
I had never done that before. So people here are looking for the best in everything. And anyway, so let's go on. Oh, look, Sherry is here. 𝗍𝗲𝗄𝗏. She is in Africa. She's an admin really for PowerThinking Corp, and she has kept me straight when I couldn't get the messages. Like I was the only person in the organization, but I'm not. I just absolutely love that. Okay, so Elizabeth says that I have reddish orange tomato and Stan has more red. Isn't that interesting? Wow. Okay, Olu is here. Hi, Olu. So glad you're here. He is also a big supporter of this show and Stanley's show. Another Sagittarius. So, all right, let me just make sure we have Christy Williams. And I know a lot of times you don't come in right away, and that's okay. Here we go. Christy's a big supporter, and she has been featured. Each week I pick someone who has just gone out of their way to find a way to support the work we're doing, and not just me. It's really everybody who is helping us to learn about how to think differently. And she
downloaded the PowerThinking Corp app because of you. She's connected to.
Oh, that's right. That's right. All right. Let me just go through here because we need to get started, of course. Oh, here's Sandra Bote. She is a neurolinguistic practitioner. That is, if my machine ever decides to bring her up, there we go. And she was one of the first speakers here. And I hope that she'll come back again. Ah, you bet your life. Thank you, Meryl. That's exactly what it was. I love it. All right. Now we're ready to go. All right. So let's begin. Stanley, let me bring this up. And since we're all on stage now, let me see if I can get this. All right. Okay, so we're in Mind Over Matter Mondays, and let's do this next. Okay, so this week's special honor goes to 𝗍𝗲𝗍𝗲𝗍𝗍. And 𝗍𝗲 is, I believe, is in, oh gosh, let me see if I can get rid of, take this down. There we go. Thank you, Sandra, for being here and staying on stage so long. 𝗍𝗲, I met him when I first came back on LinkedIn after I was bumped off, after COVID, off Facebook. And for life, somebody hacked my machine. So I came back over here and I had a little account. I hadn't done much with it. 𝗍𝗲 was one of the first people that I really got to know. And I have to tell you, these were audio rooms, and 𝗍𝗲 has turned into the most amazing transformational coach. He has supported me, whether he's there or moving from one country to another. Please get to know him. This is a man who, over the last 2 years, has literally transformed himself into the most amazing personal development coach and guide. And I don't care if he's certified or not. He knows his stuff. He's been through it. So thank you, 𝗍𝗲. So happy to feature you. Please follow him and connect. All right. Now we're getting to do the good stuff. Okay. This is the 7 strengths of resilience and the 7 skills, of the 7 inner strengths of resilience and the 7 skills of resilience, power thinking. We've gone through several of these. And so those videos are on my page. And if Stanley also streamed them, they would be with him. So if you want to pick up on that. But today we're going to talk about avoiding thinking traps. So Stanley, tell us, what is a thinking trap? And where are we going to begin? Where would a person begin to recognize this? Then I'm going to show you a model, and then we're going to do a live dialogue on a thinking trap that got me and how we work through it. Stanley, please.
No, great. And thank you for having me, Leslie. And
sure.
And this came about because of something that happened last week. I think it was scheduled for a few weeks from now. And you decided, hey, let's talk about this on Monday, because as much as we are really steeped into the mind and understanding the mind and being able to control things, we're human at the end of the day, and things happen. But because the two of us are more aware of these strengths of resilience and being able to push through things, the setbacks that we have in life, and the skills involved, actually, you were able to really point out and pinpoint a trap that caused a lot, and actually could have been a situation where if you weren't and I weren't steeped into this, there's a possibility we wouldn't even be here talking like this, and we could be still steeped in some emotion. But this is what happens, and it happens every day to every human being on the planet. But it's about being aware. When we are aware of what's happening in our heads and in our hearts, we can take action to turn things around so that we can keep moving forward and not get stuck in a negative spiral. So I'm just so excited that we have this opportunity to share with folks, because it's one thing to come in, put up a slide and talk about it, and this is what you should be doing, people, and blah 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 blah, as if we're perfect. But to be able to say, oh, wait, we had a situation that could have led to us not even talking today and for weeks and weeks and months, who knows? And this is what happens with friendships. It's what happened in families around this time of year. We have families that could be getting together for the holidays, and they're saying, well, no, I'm not going to talk. I'm not talking to that person. I haven't talked to him in 10 years. Why not? And it may have been one little thing that could have been dealt with, maybe a thinking trap somebody fell into, where they thought they knew what somebody was thinking about them, and then they believed it, and they moved on for 10 years. I mean, just so much happened. So these thinking traps, and you know, Leslie, and you mentioned last week, I usually mention that, you know, our brains are processing, you know, thousands and thousands, 50,000 or more thoughts every single day. Every second and a half, a thought's popping into our minds. And it happened last week when we were communicating via text about something, and thoughts pop in. And if we're not aware of these traps that we can fall into with our thinking,
Yes.
this erroneous thinking, we can go totally off kilter.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. I want to show everybody a model of, first of all, what happens when we jump to conclusions. So it's a concept. Hi, Charles. Charles is here from the UK. He's been a wonderful guest here. So glad you're here. And Sajid Kumar featured as one of our big supporters. 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 is here. Smart girl. She knows all about agile stuff, way more than me. I just know how to agile think, right? That's about it. But she knows how to do it with organizations. And we also have, before I show this model, because I don't want to leave anybody out, you saw Kinga. Jason is here, Jason Forehand. His show is featured this week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. He's all about his nonprofit, TK Kitchen. Take a look at what he's doing with people around the world and teaching children how to cook and to take care of themselves. The beautiful Catherine Chadwick is here. And you remember Catherine, she will be here next week. And so I'm so glad to see you, Catherine. It's getting toward the end of the year. So let me show you what happened to me during an experience on Thursday. And so I want to show you exactly what happened as simply as I can. First, something happened. There was an experience. There was a text. There was a communication. Simple as that. Then, what we do as humans is we all have our own unique perspective. We have our own fears, our own experiences, our own beliefs. No two are really the same because we've had completely different experiences and we think differently. So I slapped a meaning on what happened. I interpreted what that meant. And so effectively what we all do next, and what I did was this. Whoops, I do it over here. I collapsed them together and it was a fact for me. This is the problem. We are meaning-making machines. Charles, that should sound familiar to you. That's an old phrase from Landmark. We have to have a meaning. We're not happy until we make something mean something. I think that's why we have so many labels for everything. I mean, God, the universe, spirit, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna. I mean, it's all one bundle of loving energy, but based on what we've experienced, we collapse together what we've noticed with what we make it mean, and we collapse it together as a fact. The only thing that we did is this. We redistinguished them. We separated what had actually happened with my interpretation of it. Right, Stanley?
That's
Okay.
right.
All right. So why don't you
Oh, and by the way, the
leave?
way we did that, Leslie, is we stopped texting. I said, no more texts. Let's talk.
Right.
Let's talk.
So I'm going to take this down, but this is something I want you to understand, is that there's something going on here in the way we're thinking, and it all happens to all of us. And our work is to try to understand our different points of view. We have more than one, right? If you're an agile thinker, you can actually, based on the context, you can change which point of view you're going to express. But generally, I think with, and correct me if I'm wrong here, generally, when we jump to conclusions, we've done it too soon. And for a moment, we were unaware. So our fear, okay, because that's exactly what happened to me. But there were a lot of things. So I'm going to take this down. So now that you understand, first you got what happened. Then we're going to make it mean something. Then we're going to collapse it together in our thoughts. And that's what it is. And it is a fact for us. But what we did, Stanley and I, we separated them. And that's what we want you to see. So Stanley, I'm going to let you start with this and take this any way you want.
Yeah. So, if it's okay with you, we're not getting into a tremendous amount of detail because people are going, okay, what are they talking about? What happened? What happened? And I was, ready and super excited about Thursday and getting together with you. And, but I had this other situation that I had postponed a few times, another event. And, I said, oh my gosh, this person actually had it, we came up with another date and it was scheduled for the same time that we were getting together. And I said, no, we cannot do that. So we changed it for other people to make sure that I can get out on time to make your event. And so then I read your email the night before that said, I want you to be there before the time. I'm like, uh-oh. So that's when I communicated, hey, I want to give it a little time, about 15 minutes, late, because of this other thing, if it goes over a little bit or whatever. And that's what triggered everything. But when you didn't have the background you thought maybe I was just, okay, well, it wasn't that important to me that I'll just show up when I show up. But I had this other situation that was postponed a couple of times. And that all started with actually my high school coach was 85 years old. And I was going to pick him up and take him to a basketball game, a Penn basketball game. And he was responsible for connecting me with the great Chuck Daly, who was coaching at the University of Pennsylvania, and so forth and so on. So, we had one thing scheduled. He got sick. We scheduled another time. Then I had to move off another event. And that's all of the background to that Leslie had no idea about. So she was operating from just, hey, my event's not that important. He's just going to come in when he's going to come in, not knowing about all these events beforehand. And I'm doing everything I can to make sure that I can make it, even if it's going to be a little late.
Right.
And that's what led to, it was some emotion associated with it, and some assumptions, a conclusion that Stanley Greene doesn't value what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it just kind of blows it off. And that was the furthest from
I didn't use those. These are your words interpreting. So I do want to say that.
Yeah.
I never said blows it off, but let me add a little bit of color to this, right? So this happened last minute. So this understanding that, so this is the thing that I do that is very important to me. And, and Stanley and I have a relationship. This other thing is often hit or miss. So that was kind of my background. The other thing, and so I thought, okay, well, I do this once a year. This other thing happens all the time. He must not value my work. I thought he valued my work. Now, there were some things that you said that had me feel stronger about that when, and I'm going to share this, okay?
Yeah.
When you said, it's something to the effect,
Yeah, that was
paraphrase,
through text.
really not interested in the material. I was doing this for you.
Yeah. Now, I didn't say I wasn't interested. I said it was more about you than it is the material. And the
Okay.
same with everyone else. It was about that person and that I'm
Right,
doing
right,
this for because of the relationship I have with the individual.
right.
But
And
what
then
happens is when you communicate something through text, you know, it's cryptic, you're moving fast, and you don't get all of it in there. And then a person's going to go, oh, okay, it's you don't value. And woo, it got really bad. And then at some point I said, okay, I'm not texting anymore.
it didn't really get that bad. It was really, so first of all, I was kind of blindsided. I didn't know it was coming, right? So that in my own defense.
Right.
And I'm very sensitive about my work, right? And to me, my work is what I live for besides my family. So to think that this other thing was more important, I just didn't have all the facts. Now, he said, we're not going to do this in text anymore, right? Let's stop that. And I gave him a thumbs up. He said, let's talk by phone. Well, at that point, I had to go and do what I had to do and get myself cleared again. So I accepted the fact. I just basically said, don't attend, because to come in late wasn't going to work. But I couldn't call him, and I couldn't call you or talk to you because I was still irritated, still wondering, well, how could I have misread Stanley? I thought he respected my work. Now, again, I'm very sensitive about this, probably overly sensitive, and I made it mean something. But what I will tell you is what happened the next day. So and I didn't know what I was going to do, but I have a hard time keeping long-term relationships because of jumping to conclusions, for being sensitive. I don't really have to have an excuse for it, but it's important to me that you get my heart and what I'm doing. It's not for money, right? So it's really important to me. And it felt like it wasn't important to you. So, but anyway, I didn't know what to do. So the next day, all of a sudden, I got this flash. I said, I'm ready to talk. And I said, I'm just going to tell Stanley how it all landed for me, how it showed up, like what was my process, what was I thinking, which was totally wrong, right? That was never his intention. That was never his meaning. And we're bringing this up now because we're getting in with our families now. And I don't know about you, Stanley, but those old patterns, not always positive, with our brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles, those neural pathways are so deeply carved in the negative from the experience we've had and we relived. We both thought that if we could take a look inside why we do this and what we're actually doing, we could take a breath, right? And that's so I sent Stanley a note, right? And I said, I'm ready to talk, right? Because I knew what he says. Okay, so I'm going to call you. And he let me tell him. I said, I'm just going to tell you how it showed up for me. There was no emotion. There was no making anybody wrong. It was really being professional, because the other option is just not to talk ever again, which was, I don't want to do that.
On to the negative emotion, right?
Yeah, so it's really about being right and making someone else wrong. But that comes from the fear of judgment and criticism, from having done it wrong and it being pointed out throughout my life. And then what we know now is that when we go back into a memory and we relive a negative experience, being criticized, humiliated, or judged, when we feel it and bring it up visually again, you go back to the same age with the same cellular vibration, and you further impressed the negative neural pathways that you already had. The work we're doing is to create new, nice, smooth neural pathways of the positive. But unfortunately, this particular resilience, strength of resilience, it saved us both. It saved us both, because then Stanley said, okay, so I went through everything, and he's going, right? And he was patient, and I said it all. I said that I felt insulted. I said that, you know, that this is what I thought it meant. It was at a bad time, and I'm a truth teller, but I can tell it objectively. So I didn't tick him off or myself. So then Stanley says, well, now let me tell you what happened. So Stanley, take over, will you?
Yeah, and to back up for a sec, if you can flash up those inner strengths and skills, Leslie.
Yes, I'm going to do that. Yes, absolutely. Hang on, let me do that. I wanted to get some footage, as you know, for those clips with just you and me, and primarily you. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. I did want that. Okay, now wait. It's not big enough here. Let's do this. Okay, there you go.
So we're talking about putting this right into action here, real live situations. So remember, you know, when we face a setback, here are the 7 strengths, right there, the piece on the left, that the University of Pennsylvania's psychologists, after decades of research, concluded, well, if we focus on them, we can bounce back from any of life's adversities faster, no matter what it is. A mini adversity like we had, which could have gone into a big adversity, or, you know, major
or nothing. Like it would have been. I mean, I had that happen with someone who literally ghosted me, like someone who was really, I talked with every single day for over a year, and all of a sudden, ghost. Not a word. And I'm telling you, that just broke me. It still bothers me. So I'm learning too. Yes. I'm learning too. So continue on, Stanley.
Yeah. So, you know, these are those strengths. If we're strong in these areas, and by the way, in the PowerThinking mobile app, there's an evidence-based power thinking assessment. 56 questions, and it will measure where you are in each of these 7 strengths. You know, how are you with your emotion regulation? Are you above average, below average, or average? And that is the ability to stay calm when these situations arise. Very, very challenging. Then impulse control, and this is where the texting back and forth, our impulse to respond with this text, and it doesn't give out all the information, and that's the ability not to say or do the first thing that comes to mind. And when I said, this is more about you than it is your material, you know, in so many words, I thought I was, you know, making a real positive statement about Leslie, and she took it a different way. I'm like, So to avoid, you know, the impulse of saying something that may not land the way I wanted to land, I said, let's stop texting and let's talk. There's the
then well, to talk about the completion part, because we were able to resolve this simply by uncollapsing what you thought was a fact from your point of view, what I thought was a fact. We were both really wrong in a way. We were right also. We were right from our point of view. That fact that we collapsed together, we operate as though that's the truth. And it is for us. Yeah. It is the power of what we did to clean it up, to complete it. Stanley, talk a little bit.
Let's go right to the most powerful of the 7 inner strengths. So you don't even have to remember all of them. But the one that you really need to hold on to is number 7. And this is what Leslie did. And that's reaching out. Now, she could have held on, not said anything, and said, I'll deal with it maybe after the first of the year, you know, or in a few weeks. But within 24 hours didn't even pass, where she said, hey, are you available to talk? And I was like, yes, this is great. And we talked, not texting back and forth, but
Right.
we
On the
talked.
phone.
And it led to, I was scheduled to come on the 27th. Listen, I want you to come on Monday so that we can talk about this.
Because I
We
was
can
thinking
get
about
through these things.
our families. That's kind of why I was thinking the reason it's so hot is because many of us, and listen, the years before I stopped inviting my brother, who I found out long after the fact that I could never please him. He has really strong narcissistic behaviors and is unaware of them. Let's just say that. And it was a terrible cycle that would happen every Christmas. How could we walk on eggshells around him? And so, you come into the holidays with your, another term from Landmark. Sorry, Charles, I had to say this. Already, always thinking. In other words, you already know what they're going to do. So they have no chance to be anything else but how you remembered them when you were kids. And so, I think the proudest thing about this is that both of us were committed to listening to one another. And then, so we separated the what happened with how we viewed it. And then we were back on normal course. But you could see if we left it without redistinguishing those two and we left it collapsed together as a fact, we would not have a resolution. And so I'm just so grateful to you for this. Anything else you want to share about this?
Well, and I want to thank you for you
Sure.
actually, after I explained, and this is the beauty of being part of Power Thinking, because you were able to identify the thinking trap. So we didn't just get here and just, okay, let's talk about thinking traps.
Right. I asked him which one was it, right? Yeah, and we both laughed because that's what it was. Is that right?
Conclusions. And
Yeah.
that's one of the most common, where based on a limited set of information, we will then jump to a conclusion that, okay, this is what it means, and this is where we are. Another, and there's 8. Remember, as you see there, number 2 on the right-hand side, the skills of resilience. And this is a skill. There are 3 awareness skills. We want to be aware of what's going on in our head, and then we can determine whether it's valid or not, or if it's erroneous. There's learning ABCs. We won't talk about that. But avoiding thinking traps. There are 8 thinking traps that we'll fall into that'll actually hurt us. And we need to be more aware. So the first 3 of these skills are awareness skills, where we become more skilled at being aware of what's going on.
Now, these 3 of the 7 skills of resilience, you mean these first 3, learning the ABCs?
First 3 are ABCs, thinking traps, and detecting these deep-rooted beliefs. You were just talking about that. The always, this is the way this person has been since I was a kid. These deep-rooted, this is my belief about my brother or about my friend. And so therefore, this is the way we respond. These are the awareness skills. We have to be aware of what's going on. So with the thinking traps, there are 8 of them. We only focused on 1, jumping to conclusions. There's also personalizing, where we beat ourselves up too much, or we externalize, where we blame others. There's mind reading, which is kind of closely associated with the jumping to conclusions. Because you may have had a sense of what you thought was in my head. Oh, well, he really didn't care much about it.
I was sure. I was sure. There was no thought. Listen, let's get into that another time, because we're coming in on the last 3 minutes, and I really want to acknowledge you, Stanley, for staying with me. I hope everyone, and I know I haven't had a chance to say hello to each one of you. I will come in and, this is nice. And I see we've got Charito was here. Yeah, this is the real stuff, you guys. This is the real stuff in real time. It's almost like a live coaching in the sense that we're breaking down, right? And you can do the same thing.
Yes.
So as you approach, and oh, I see Charito is here. Hi, Charito. I'm talking about you earlier. Oh yeah, here she is. So you can approach holidays or the next time you're with family, and you can intentionally pause before you go in and say, okay, I'm going to give this person space to be different. I can do that. I don't have to judge them in advance, but you have to do this intentionally, right? That's the thing about it. And then you'll surprise yourself, right? And you continue to do that until, well, it's taken me years to get to this point because I don't know exactly what I would have done 5 years ago with this. But today I am walking the walk, people. Money has nothing to do with it. It's a kind of, I've never had this. I scrapped like everybody else, robbing Peter to pay Paul, getting through everything. The universe and God took care of us because we did good things, right? That's, I believe in karma, and I believe that the more positive and kind we can be, the more will come back to us. Yes, I'm so glad you were here. So let's take a look now at the wonderful, we already did this. Okay, we got to get past this. Just a second here because we're right at the end here. All right. So I encourage you to go to the App Store. And I don't know if I can get this any smaller for us. This is good. And download this app. It is amazing. Over here on the left is the menu, which I use all the time. You'll get 30 days complimentary. There's a chat. There are videos to watch. You can watch his live show at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 9:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. Meet all the people in that community. It's a marvelous thing to give yourself a gift of 30 days for the Power Thinking application. And with that, my friend, I say we are complete for today. What would be your last words to everyone as they approach the holiday season with, in particular, what I explained, what I suggested? What would you suggest the one thing that people could do when they know that they're walking into a group of people for which they have a long history? Stanley, please.
I would reach out, just as we've done. The most powerful thing you can do is to reach out and connect with that person and give it another try. Don't just assume or conclude that things will never come together again. This is the time of year to reach out to those individuals, family members, friends that you've had this long, history with, and it's not where it should be, to try to get it to where it needs to be.
Absolutely. Stanley, thank you so much for being here. Lauren, that was a great comment. I'm going to move you back into the studio. Wishing you and yours a wonderful holiday season. Thank you for being here. And I just really appreciate our relationship. And I feel free. I feel free. But it took me time for the right solution, right, to outweigh being hurt. Right. And the more you do this, what I've noticed, everybody, is that there's less time that elapses when you're feeling poorly about it. The sooner you can get your wits about you and have a conversation. And luckily, hopefully you'll have someone like Stanley who will listen objectively, right? And me for him. You can do that. So Stanley, thank you again.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. All right, everyone. So yes, there's a lot of wonderful comments here. And once I fix lunch, I will come back and address them. There's such a beautiful outpouring of people here. When you approach this, set the context in advance. As you're driving over, think about doing this. It won't happen once you're in there if you don't intend it, because you'll get caught up in the emotions and the vibrations that perhaps weren't so positive. And so it puts you behind to begin with. But you can do this. Just think about that model, that what's going on for them is not the same as what's going on for you, but both are just as important, right? And they're facts for us. Oh, okay, hang on. I wanted to do this. So they are a fact. So it's not about making the other person wrong, because we're all right and we're all wrong. I know that's a little esoteric, but anyway, everybody have a fabulous week. Stay warm, stay out of the sun, depending on where you are. Have an umbrella and be kind to people. And we're going to go out with the beautiful outro and intro created by Aaron Gibson, Visioneer, especially for this show. So there we go. Appreciate you all.